Got a survey to start us today, all right, for our message here, week 5 of our Becoming series in the book of Galatians. Your favorite fall season. So online, you let us know in the comments your favorite season. All right, your favorite season of the year. How many of you here would say winter's your favorite season? There, Charles. All right, we have a couple. Yes, I was wondering how winter would turn out. All right, how about spring? Who loves spring? Come on, there's Jeff. Is that spring training? Is that really what's going on? Is it a new season for the Cubs, right? So all right, so we saw a few. All right, how about summer? Summer's your favorite season. We got some summer. Olivia's got raising her hand. So got a good number of us. How about fall? Is fall your? I had a feeling fall was going to win. I don't know. It's something. Maybe it's because you get a mix of several seasons in the fall. At least here in the Midwest, you know. When we were in Las Vegas, we just got hotter and hottest, and those were our seasons. Really, that's how we worked that out. But and then the Northwest got all the different seasons. So Shammy loves. I knew Shammy was going to say the fall season. Shammy loves to decorate for fall season. Do we have some decorators for fall? So specifically, not just any season. All right, we've got some fall season decorators. Shammy loves decorating for fall so much that as soon as the calendar changed to September, our house became a fall house. She didn't wait. She didn't wait till September 21st when fall actually starts. She said, no, September, it's fall. And so she started decorating already. Our house what was looking like fall during the summer. It was not, because you still got 3 weeks. And I think that's one thing that is interesting. When we get to that window of time when a new season is about to start, and we know it starts like the 21st of that particular month, we're already thinking about that season as that month gets started. Just like there are very specific seasons in every year, there also are specific seasons in your life. All right? And so in life, like the Grief family, we're in a new season. Our new season is for the first time having an adult child. All right, so that's new. That's really a new experience in the Grieve family, and with that comes her. And so she moved out, and she's on campus at Indiana Wesleyan, and so even the home is different because there's 3 of us in the home. And then even this last week, Shammy was in Florida for work-related stuff, and so it was just me and Savannah in the house, and so that was interesting. But how many would say, whatever kind of reason, you would say you're in a new season in your life? You just say, hey, I'm in a new season. It could be a job, it could be school, it could be all different home and all things. So a lot of you have said, yeah, I'm in a new season in my life. So we've got the seasons weather-related, or not weather-related, but, as the calendar goes. We've got the seasons of our life and how that all takes place. But did you know there's also seasons in your becoming? In your becoming who God wants you to become, there are seasons. And it's these seasons of becoming I actually want to help us understand a little bit better today. And so we began 5 weeks ago realizing that becoming is a metamorphosis. It's a dramatic and radical transformation of our lives. It's not behavior modification, as Pastor Rachel had said. It is transformation. It's a radical transformation. And that transformation always begins in the same place. Faith in Jesus. And who can have faith in Jesus? Does anyone remember? Anyone. Anyone can have faith in Jesus. And so we want to remember that. And so then what was really cool is many on Sunday, like I already mentioned, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, it was really great having Tim here and seeing teenagers and seeing adults respond to this decision to put faith in Jesus or to come back to Jesus. And one of the next steps for people who do that, who put their faith in Jesus, is baptism. That's one of those next steps. And so our next baptism, we do them quarterly right now. And so the next one's, I think, the first or second week of December. And so we'll make sure that everyone is aware of that. Those who made these decisions, last week, or then even ones that have made it before. And so we want to make sure you know that. You can go to the Next Step kiosk and you can sign up for that baptism. We want to celebrate that with you. But another thing that happens that is part of that next step when you're putting your faith in Jesus, that's jumping into something like a life group, finding your people, and this becoming journey. This is why life groups are important, because this becoming journey, it continues, and we learn that it's about belonging in the family of God, not behaving, but belonging. And this is why life groups are so important here at New Life, because it helps you get that sense of belonging. You belong with some other people you call your people that you connect with. And it doesn't mean these are people who all look like you or act like you or even vote like you, but they become your people because you're connected with them. You have a relationship with them. You have this deepness that comes in. So this becoming, it doesn't continue with behaving, it continues with belonging. And I know that's hard for some of us to take a hold of, right? Some of us, we've grown up in church, especially we've been in church a long enough time, we've had this sense of, I've got to behave a certain way to be a follower of Jesus. But I want to tell you that behavior never trumps belonging. Belonging is still what's most important in that process. Faith in Jesus, that I belong in the family of God. Because if we treat it like we have to behave like a certain way, then when we don't behave like a certain way, we feel like we got kicked out of the family of God. But when we know we belong to the family of God, even when we misbehave, we know we're still in the family. And so that's so important to understand that and see that. So then we've got through to that part, and then we learned last week how in our becoming, our problems aren't eliminated, but that we learn to go through our problems with God's love for us. God's with us. Tim kind of walked us through that idea of the things that we go through. And I was having my time, I was going to church online yesterday. One of the things I learned, it was really cool. This is the example of the butterfly that is trying to make its way out of the chrysalis. There's the pressure that it feels as it's coming out to become truly what it wants to become. And so we think that becoming who God wants us to become, we don't want the problems, we want the easy way. We want the easy way, but you got to realize to become who God wants you to become, there's got to be the pressure, that the crushing almost, that you'll feel as you make your way out of the chrysalis, make your way out of the process of becoming. And then what they said in the message last night, that the butterfly, as it presses through the opening, that the fluids or whatnot that it has in its body are being pressed into the wings so that the wings can work when it gets out. That it has to have the pressure and the pressing as it comes through the chrysalis to be able to soar. For you to soar in life for Jesus, you got to go through the pressing. You got to go through the pressure, and you come out beautiful, just as you were designed to be. And so that's what we got. We got an essence of that from Tim McCain, and it did a really great job of sharing that. So what now? Well, we need to understand that in the seasons of becoming, all God wants us to become, there is a point where behavior does transform as well. There is a point. It is not about behavior, but because you're becoming who God wants you to become, there is a point where transformation involves behavior. And we know this because behavior transformation is what Paul calls fruit. Paul calls it fruit. And in Galatians chapter 5, at some point, there is what we call the fruit of becoming. And so before we get to that outward sign of our transformation, we got to understand what Paul was fighting against in chapter 5. All right, in chapter 5, Paul is talking with people who were claiming, you must be circumcised to have faith in Jesus. If you don't know what circumcision is, then talk to the person next to you afterwards, and they'll help you explain it. But what you need to know about this is Paul was calling this teaching, you must be circumcised to have faith in Jesus, false teaching. Why? It's because circumcision, what it was teaching, is that you must have an outward appearance change. Circumcision was a change to a man on the outward side of him. There was an outward change. That's what circumcision is saying. But faith is not an outward change in appearance. Faith is an inner transformation. Faith happens on the inside. And an inner transformation is what matters, not an outward change in appearance. Often, we focus on the outward, don't we? When it comes to determine who's a good Christian, who's a lackluster one, we look at the outward, don't we? Right? We do that. But in this discussion of what becomes most important, Paul then says this in Galatians 5, verse 6. What is important is faith expressing itself in love. Faith in love. That inward transformation of faith, which we're talking about, right? The transformation's on the inside of us. The inward transformation that happens when we put faith in Jesus is expressed outwardly in love. The transformation's on the inside, but it becomes outward because of love. It'd be like me saying, having the thought, I love chamois. I love chamois. In fact, I have every Monday, I think it's 10 a.m., I have this alert on my phone. Think of your wife. Oh, she put it there. I just never took it off because I like it. I like it. But she put it there. It's at 10-something in the morning. I can't remember, but it's not like a straight 10 a.m. And so whenever I see it, I smile. Sometimes I send her a text. Sometimes I send her a meme or whatever. You know, sometimes I call her. Sometimes I just, move on with my day. But I take a moment and I think of my wife. But if I never expressed what I think about her, she would never know the love I have for her. And so faith in Jesus must be expressed on the outside. It must have an outward thing that takes place. And so that's why it's so important that faith is expressed in love. So I like to put it this way, and I'll say it many times. Show it so they know it. Show it so they know it. Show your faith by showing your love. Show it so they know it. That's why Paul continued to say this. He says this in Galatians 5:13. He says, "For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love." To serve in love. This is a verse that confirms why here at New Life, we don't use the term volunteers very often. We use the term servant leaders all the time. Occasionally, we say volunteers based off of maybe a one-time kind of event, like the drive-through food pantry that we had in July. But when we say Fallpalooza coming up, which it is, and other things that happen, and kids ministry, youth ministry, and so on, we say servant leaders. These are individuals who are servant leaders because we believe we're called to serve one another in love. There's some more to that those of you who are going to go through New Life 101 will jump into that a little bit more. But this confirms that reality. And so I want to tell you that month one of the season of becoming, if you've jumped in since September 5th, this is what we're calling this season a season of becoming. And we're taking it through December. Probably going to take it beyond that because we've got another wave of becoming that we are focusing on in the new year. But the season of becoming, month one was beautiful. September was absolutely beautiful. We presented our For God So Loved Grant County, and we had these shirts, that you guys can wear and go around the community and have those. We had yard signs, and we have the big mural out in the lobby just to remind us, For God So Loved Grant County, and that God loves Grant County so much that we need to love Grant County so much, and we need to love like God does. And it was a beautiful kind of thing. It's actually having some traction a little bit with other churches. We're going to have ministers here the first week in November, and we're going to show them all that we did and offer to them whether or not they want to have the same thing happen in their church where they would put a focus of For God So Loved Grant County. Notice there's no New Life logo on our stuff. And that's the beauty, that this could go anywhere. And so we're hoping and believing that this is going to get traction in Grant County for those who are followers of Jesus. And then we had our night of worship at the park. And that was a beautiful time. It was an awesome time, an incredible time of worshiping God in that place. And there were some people who came who were actually at the park and joined us, and they got prayed for and were with us. It was just an incredible time at the park. And just the whole time we've been walking through this season of becoming. Life groups launched with our Becoming Life Group series. If you jumped into New Life and you're like, I'm not in a life group, you could start one now of yourself with your own people, or you could even check with Pastor Rachel and those who are at the kiosk about jumping in the last couple of weeks of a life group, whether it's a teenager life group or it's a young person life group or all different generations life group, men's life groups, women's life groups. They're happening all throughout this time. This idea is so awesome. I just love what's been happening here. So the month of October is month 2 of the season of becoming. And for us, what we really want to happen here in this month is learn this, that we would serve one another in love, that we would become servant leaders, that we wouldn't just have it as a title at New Life, but it really is what we become. We become servant leaders in our home. We become servant leaders in our dorm. We become servant leaders on our high school campus, junior high campus, or whatever campus size, or whether we become those servant leaders at our workplace. Could you imagine being a servant leader at work? And you're not just going to get a paycheck, but you come to serve others in love? What an amazing kind of thought. But serving in other areas, serving in your community. Rick Barberia attends New Life. He's the Rescue Mission director, and he's speaking at another church right now. Today, last week, and this week, he's been speaking about life change. And I love the individuals that come alongside him, and they help serve in our community in love. And then here at New Life, so we think home, church, and community are the areas we're called to serve. And I wanted to give you just a little bit of a snippet of how can you serve in love at New Life. So just a real quick moment in doing this. I asked my dream team servant leaders and how ministry team leaders, what they might need. And Danielle said New Life Kids needs about 10 more servant leaders. What we're talking about is they have servant leaders. There's a bunch back there right now doing a great job. But if we had 10 more servant leaders in kids ministry, that you give like 1 week a month or something like that, and you help out in either babies and toddlers, preschool, or elementary, those 10 more would really lighten the load of everybody else and even prepare us for where God wants us to go as a church. And so she said 10 more servant leaders in that area. And I don't want you to think, someone else will take it. No, if you get this little nudge, it's you. You're supposed to be that person who steps up. I love that reality. They also, in Momentum, what I was told was 2 more worship leaders. Maybe you love to lead worship, and it was really awesome last Sunday having Ashley lead worship for the teenagers on Sunday night. I know Akeem leads, and I don't know who else, but having 2 more worship leaders help with worship during Sunday nights with youth is what they said that they needed. And then guest services, 8 more greeters, 8 more of you to help out on a Sunday to simply greet people the way you've been greeted, to love on people the way you want to be loved, to love like God does as people come in feeling loved, whether you're at the kiosk, the guest services, or at the doors, loving on people. And then even what's really cool is while we're here in the building, there's people who are online that are watching, and some of you who have been online for different reasons. And we have people who are online hosts, and Pastor Rachel said we just need 2 more. 2 more online hosts to help out. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 that are doing it right now, but 2 more would really help that process, because it really, when you are on an online host, you're loving and almost to some level pastoring those who are online. And that takes a lot of your time, and it's a little bit of a different kind of experience for you on Sunday morning, but it's a great experience with those that you're online with. So 2 more online hosts. And then also 5 life group leaders this next session. 5 more life groups. 5 more life groups. And we would multiply into having 5 more life groups coming up in January. Those are just some of the areas that I was noted by individuals who serve here at New Life. I want you to think about those areas because I want you to serve in love. Serve in love can't be done invisibly. Serving in love must be done visibly, because love isn't shown inward, it's shown outward. So show it so they know it. Show it so they know it. Now, you remember that Jesus came and he gave the law an upgrade. You remember a couple weeks ago I shared that he came and gave an upgrade. Well, he didn't dismiss it, he fulfilled it. And Paul actually gives us an idea of the upgrade. This idea of serving in love, the idea of loving like God does. Galatians 5:14 shows us the upgrade in its most simplest form. For the whole law can be summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. And so Jesus even addressed this. If you didn't know it, Jesus addressed this very thing in Luke chapter 10. Luke chapter 10, verses 30 through 37. If you looked at this, you would see it's called the Good Samaritan. That's the headline that it gets. Did you know that Good Samaritan is never mentioned in that section of Scripture? There's a Samaritan mentioned, but he's never mentioned good. Whoever translates a Bible and then they put it together, whether it's Tyndale, Zondervan, whoever puts a Bible together, they then put subtitles into Scripture to just simply help you know what's next. And I love that. Do you like that? How many of you guys love when that happens? You got the subtitles, so you kind of get an idea. Anyone? Be like, hey, I like that. I like that. It does help me when I'm searching for something specifically in Scripture. I can't remember where that is in John. And then you see the subtitle helps you. But the subtitle, Good Samaritan, the word good is not in there at all. Jesus gives the Samaritan a different description. He calls him the despised Samaritan. So really it should say the parable of the despised Samaritan. If we really want to be truthful to the passage, he's despised. Why is he despised? Because Samaritans were despised by Jews. If you don't know that about the history of Samaritans and Jews, Samaritans were half-breeds, and we've talked about this many times here, but they weren't cared for, liked. And so the story of the Samaritans, very simply, that we have this man who is going, and I don't remember the direction that the man is going from Jerusalem to Jericho, which way he's headed, but bandits come to him, they rob him, they leave him half dead, leave him for dead. He's left naked and just there just to be wasted away. We know that a priest comes by. We know that a Levite, a temple assistant comes by, and they don't help the man. I think one of them goes and checks and looks at him, but that's other than that, they're just kind of like, oh, poor dude, and they just move on. But then the Samaritan comes. The despised Samaritan comes. He loves on the man. He loves his neighbor. Because the question was, who's my neighbor? And Jesus gives the parable and essentially says, do what the Samaritan did. If you don't know what he does, he binds his wounds, clothes him, puts him on his animal, takes him to an inn, has it stays the night with him, and then he leaves, but gives money to the innkeeper and says, if this is enough, awesome. If not, I'll come back. When I come back, I'll take care of the rest. Makes me think the Samaritan had stayed at that inn, that he was a familiar face at that inn, and so he knew that he would be, he was trustworthy. He was a man of integrity. And so we see that. That's what happens in that story. Ultimately, we know the Samaritan was guided by something. He was guided by something inside of him, a faith that he had, not necessarily in Jesus, but a faith that needed to be expressed through love. He served the man who was half dead, served him in love. And we see then back into Galatians that Paul says this, that I think really connects with the story of the Samaritan. Verse 16, so I say, let the Holy Spirit guide your lives. Then you won't be doing what your sinful nature craves. So let the Holy Spirit guide your love, guide your serving like it did the Good Samaritan. When you do that, the right fruit of becoming will become visible. Now I say right fruit because the truth is we all have fruit. The only question is, what kind of fruit do we have? Here's the first little bit of fruit that we see in our lives. Galatians 5:19 through 21. I'll just read it, and I guarantee every one of us has done something on this list. We've had this fruit in our lives. When you follow the desires of sinful nature, the results are very clear. Sexual immorality, impurity, lustful pleasures, idolatry, sorcery, hostility, quarreling, jealousy, outbursts of anger, selfish ambition, dissension, division, envy, drunkenness, wild parties, and other sins like these. Just help us know that this list is not exhaustive. Like these are the only sins to worry about. Let me tell you again, as I have before, that anyone living that sort of life will not inherit the kingdom of God. Anyone who has that kind of fruit from your becoming does not inherit the kingdom of God. My question is, do you see some fruit in your life right now in there? Was anything there? Or is the Holy Spirit poking and prodding you right now about something else that wasn't listed? Is that your fruit? Or I hope these verses are your fruit of becoming. Verse 22. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things. Very simply, verses 19 through 21 and verses 22 through 23, they are all fruit of becoming. They're all fruit of becoming. The question is, what fruit is being made visible in your life? What fruit? You can look at that list and you can know, what am I producing? What is coming out of me? What is happening? I mean, what fruit is being visible? The reason why Paul said faith, the inward expression of your becoming, is best expressed in love, and that we are to serve one another in love is because of this. Because love brings out the rest of the fruit. The reason why he's talking about love is because love brings out the rest of the fruit. If you want to have the right fruit, love is the key. And And I know that love is the key. If you didn't know that love was the key, let me just take you a little further into another scripture, and that's John chapter 15. It's one of the very last teachings of Jesus before he's arrested, he's tried, and he's crucified, is John 15. And he says this in John 15:5. He says, "Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." It says again in verse 8, he says, "When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father." All right, so he's very clearly, he's talking about fruit. Now, he's talking about before Paul reveals the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5, but he says, we produce much fruit. And then a few verses later, he begins to talk about this. This is my commandment. Because he tells you about following his commands. And my commandment is to love each other in the same way I have loved you. And then a couple more verses later, he says it again. This is my command. Love each other. To produce much fruit, you must love one another. If you ever see a list in the Bible, a long list, like these 9 fruits, it is always important to pay attention to that first one. There is a reason why the first one starts the list. And in this case, love starts the list. Love starts the list of the fruit of the Spirit on purpose. It wasn't put first just because, oh, that sounds good. It's put first because love helps the rest get going. Love helps bring out the rest of the fruit. If you don't have love, right? Go to 1 Corinthians 13. Without love, we're just a bunch of noise. Without love, we're nothing without love. Love is what brings out the rest of the fruit. It starts with love. And then joy, peace, patience, kindness, good. All of it comes out of us because it starts with love. Love brings out the rest of the fruit. To produce much love, or to produce much fruit, you must love. And not just love any kind of way. You need to love like God does. So show it so they know it. Show that love so they know it. And just as love brings out the rest of the fruit of becoming, so does a lack of love. A lack of love bring out the fruit of what you are becoming too. Just go back to the list. I don't have time today to go back to Galatians 5:19 through 21. Go back to that list and you tell me, does any of that sound like love? That is produced because of lack of love in someone's life. You want to know why divisions and dissensions and envy and jealousy and all these things happen? It's a lack of love. But all the others happen because love produces the rest of the fruit. It brings it out. Let's be known for our fruit. Amen? Let's be known for our fruit. Known for loving Grant County like God does. For God so loved Grant County. How much do you love Grant County? Or are you just itching to get out? What have you seen about Grant County that you don't like? Maybe it's because God has brought it to your attention so you would love like he does in that very area, in that very issue. Instead of complaining about that issue, why don't you step up and let love be expressed out of you and love Grant County like God does. I love what's happening, and I'm going to give you a couple of opportunities. Well, I'm going to tell you about one opportunity, and then I'm going to give you another opportunity. So one opportunity is what our teenagers are doing in just a couple of weeks. They literally, it's called Love Grant County, isn't it? Where's Olivia? Right? Love Grant County. They're literally doing something called Love Grant County, where they are going to come together as a group of teenagers and have a great time together, but then go out and serve Grant County in love. Come on. I love that our ministry team leaders, our leaders of our youth ministry say, you know what? We need to help our teenagers learn how to do this. Love Grant County like God does. Love that. And so we get another opportunity. I'm so excited about this opportunity once again, and that's Fallapalooza. Now, raise your hand if you've ever been to an indoor Fallapalooza. Because last year we were outdoor and it was a whole different kind of experience. We're back, baby. We're back. We've already got our inflatables set up for the sanctuary. We got 3 crazy inflatables that we've never used that are going to be awesome, fun. Another inflatable down in the gym for a lot of fun for the kids. We've already got our Cafe Valley cakes, 300 cakes. You got the candy bars that you can purchase to give away, and then the whole food kind of thing. Sammy, just off the top of your head, how many servant leaders do we need for Fallapalooza? I was thinking 32, so not 32, but 30 also. So we can get 32. But we have, it's from 6 to 9, and you can either do 1 hour shifts or 1.5 hour shifts, depends on how many servant leaders we have. You can serve in all these different areas. And then from 9 to 10, if you served during that time, we kick everybody else out except for those who served, and you get an hour in the inflatables all by yourself. So we have some fun. So we have some crazy fun, and it's going to be an awesome time to let them come back into the building, and we're going to love Grant County like God does in that way. And so you got an opportunity to come and be a part of Fall Palooza on October 29th. You see there's a billboard up now as well on the bypass. But, I mean, you get this opportunity to come and have such a great time. It's always been a blast to see what's taking place. You can wear a mask if you feel like you need to wear a mask. But we're going to have an incredible time, and you need to think about being a part of it, regardless, just because it gets you a chance to love like God does. And I'm telling you, when you get to love like God does, it does something to you. You know what it does? It brings out joy. It brings out peace. It brings out patience. It brings out kindness. It brings out goodness. It brings out faithfulness. It brings out gentleness. It brings out self-control. Because love brings out the rest of the fruit. Come on. So you get this incredible. Let's be known for our fruit, New Life. Let's be known for loving across the street, but also helping Jesus build his kingdom around the world. And so we get this opportunity to do just that. We do it every week, but on November 14th, we're going to have our Miracle Offering Sunday, our Kingdom Builders Miracle Offering Sunday. And I don't even know how. One of my most favorite Sundays of the year is Miracle Offering Sunday. It's the one Sunday where we have you bring your offering to the front. We never, ever, ever, ever do it any other time. But you bring your offering, and even you don't bring offering, I tell you, bring an envelope. So just smile at me if you hate Kingdom Builders. But just smile anyways. And I hope you don't hate Kingdom Builders, because we're building his kingdom, it's about the name above all names, not the name above our door. So we just love this opportunity to see it. And I got to tell you, so this is what I know. Fully funded, where are we at with Kingdom Builders? It's over 100,000, we know that. But we have fully funded our Boldly Go. Boldly Go, actually, we like triple funded it. So our Boldly Go this year was the For God So Loved Grant County. That was our Boldly Go, that we'd go into Matter Park and we would present it the way we did and have the wall and the shirts and all that. That was Boldly Go. You fully funded that. We fully funded our interns that were here this summer. We fully funded our residents. These are our individuals who are our ministry team leaders, who are either in their master's or their undergrad, that are helping take a lead for it. We fully funded because you guys are helping pay for their service, their salaries, if you will. They get stipends, and your Kingdom Builders is helping do it. You fully funded that. You fully funded the Next Gen scholarships, so we can scholarship college students at IWU or Taylor, or teenagers or kids who go to camp or convention. We fully funded that, so when the teenagers go to youth convention in November, any of them that need help, you have fully funded scholarships so that they can go. That's beautiful. Come on, that's awesome. Also, we fully funded our college connection, and that is anytime we have a meal or any way we love on our college students. When we did 450 or 400 to 500 apple pies and pumpkin pies, or grandma's cookies, or whatever that we did, and we took them to college campuses. You did that, the meals here once a month. You fully funded that, and you fully funded the Boys and Girls Club. And so what we did so far, so we fully funded it. We've given half of it so that they could go to Fusion, kids from the Boys and Girls Club. And now with Ronnie Morell taking over, he doesn't even know that there's going to be a check coming his way from New Life toward the Boys and Girls Club. And they just renovated and everything. So excited for what's happening. That's what you fully funded already. Not to mention, you kicked some butt when it came to Rescue Sunday, and we had over 30,000 there, and the Feed One, that was another. I think we fed like 140 something kids this year. So I mean, that's technically fully funded, but we're still putting more money into that. So that's what we've done at Kingdom Builders, and we still have more we can do. There's something called Seed Company that we haven't funded yet. $5,000 that is going to help take the Bible, translate it in a language that hasn't been translated, and get it into people's hands that have never had a Bible in their language. That's part of Kingdom Builders. We have also In a Pinch. Remember, we helped them out last year. In a Pinch helps with foster families, and we're going to fully fund that, I believe, through our miracle offering. We have other things that are still in there. If you don't know what it is, look at the project guides. We have been given more to missions, to missionaries, than ever in the time that I've been here. We love that we have Kingdom Builders, and we're excited to show and share with you what projects towards 2022 are going to look like. Part of it will include loving on our facility. And we're excited to see what needs to happen there. But that's Miracle Offering Sunday, November 14th. Because when you give, it shows your fruit. When you give to God, it shows you love like God does. Because he gave his son for us. Come on. Holy smokes. Pastor Chris, if you come up and just begin to play, and I want to close out with the song that we ended with. But as we do this, I do have one final important note from Galatians 5:26. And it says this: let us not become conceited or provoke one another or be jealous of one another. He's just gone through the idea of fruit. He's like, here's the fruit that you don't want in your life. Here's the fruit you do want in your life. And what he's saying in this moment is, in your becoming, don't compare your fruit. See, don't point people to look at your fruit. Don't become conceited. You see my love? Man, I was patient today. Whew. Wow, I was so good. I had so much self-control. That's conceit. We aren't supposed to do that with our fruit. But then it goes on and it says, or provoke one another. What's provoke one another? What's that talking about? It's don't provoke one another or be jealous of one another. Don't tell others they have lesser fruit than you. Don't provoke one another. Oh, man, I wish you had more joy. Man, your kindness just doesn't match to mine. Or to be like, you really need to work on that faithfulness. Don't